Most welcome to Alexandria. You have traveled from the Eco Lodge in the desert to the saloon of the Swedish Institute. This is of course a different atmosphere, but I mean this is the Blue Saloon in this fantastic house. That house was finished in 1925, so this is where they had their dances and their dinners at the time when this house was a general consulate and also the residence of Carl Wilhelm von Gerber, who put in the cash to build this house. I wouldn't say he built it, because there were of course some workers who did that, as we know. But you are most welcome, and this is where we will be working together for the next few days. If you talk to an astronaut, they have the possibility to look down on the planet from outside sometimes. The way they describe planet Earth is blue, like a ball, sitting there in the middle of nothing, with a very, very thin layer around it, which we can see. That planet is blue. It should really be called sea, not Earth, because 70% of this planet is actually water. But this thin layer, which is the atmosphere, and it's the atmosphere together with the water that is actually the possibility for life on this planet. It's very thin, and when you look at it from outside, it also looks very, very vulnerable. And it is very vulnerable. And it is this atmosphere we are messing with at the moment. We are changing the chemical balance and actually are risking of destroying the preconditions for life. We are also messing with the water. I learned the other day that in a few years' time, if we don't change, we will have more plastic in the seas than fish. So it is a very, very serious situation. And it is this serious situation, of course, that have inspired you or motivated you to come to Egypt and Alexandria and Anaphora these days and work together and see how we can improve our responsibilities for climate change. To work with climate change. There were two main news I heard this morning. I open every day in Alexandria and listen to the Swedish news as a way for me to be connected, of course, to my home country. But there were two news that was quite interesting. One was our Minister of Climate, Isabella Lövin. It's also the Minister for Development Cooperation, who invited more countries with pledges to the IPCC, the climate panel of the United Nations, because they are out of funds. The United States have so far paid 40% of the budget, and the United States is not so keen on paying for climate concerns anymore, as you know, with the new administration. So the IPCC is in serious crisis. And of course, this IPCC is in serious crisis. There will be no proper reports, and these reports have actually been the very foundation for the negotiations that has gone on in Paris and other places to make sure that we actually have some agreements that can help us to save this thin layer that covers the Earth, and that is really the precondition for the life that we are living. I don't know if Irma, which goes on right now in Florida, will help the US administration to change. We will see, but it is of course connected. The other news was quite hopeful. That was from China. China was looking into setting a date when they will phase out all the cars driven by diesel or petrol, and instead going for electric cars. So here you have the old economy and the new economy struggling. And this is of course also at the core of why we are coming together, to see the new. and to see the potential of making these changes that will not only save the planet, but will also provide hope for the future, so that we can also find a way out of this political confusion that we have when we, instead of working together to move on, have more and more political structures finding ways to actually fight each other with walls or with closing out for refugees or whatever messages that comes with growing intolerance. We are extremely happy for the cooperation we have this week together with the American University in Cairo. From our side, from this Swedish Institute, we feel that we have a very strong support from our government to work on these issues. Sweden really at the moment have a very strong policy on climate change. We also have, of course, our experience of bringing people together for dialogue. This whole institute is about dialogue, having people with different opinions talking with each other instead of about each other. That is what we do for every day. But also to have the possibility to work with you and the technical expertise and the professional expertise in communication that you can offer, and that we can bring these perspectives together. That is extremely rewarding, and that is, of course, a key to the professional cooperation and the professional dialogue that we can conduct together these days. So from our side, we are very much looking forward to these days together with you, and we are sure that it will be as successful as it was a year ago. And I don't know if you all know, I think Walid couldn't resist telling you that we actually got the permission for the bike ride. A bit late, but we got it today. So that will also be a symbolic way of interacting with the local community of Alexandria and share some of our hope for the future also with them. Thank you very much for coming. And Hussein.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Dear all, good to see you. I'm going to tell you, just a brief about 2 weeks ago I was in Chicago, Illinois, attending a conference, and talking about the environment was actually from a political point of view, and the discussion was really limited because the withdrawal of the US from the Paris Agreement was just discussed from this particular perspective. But immediately after I left, Harvey arrived in Texas and created an incredible damage. And I'm here now talking to you while Irma is doing a big hit over the poor people in Florida. In this sense, I would like to share with you a small prayer, for God to assist those who are in need in Florida, especially the older people as well as the youngsters, because I know that it's going to hit hard, and the next 24 hours are very decisive. I would like to personally welcome each of you to the Climate Communicators Network Meeting. This is the second meeting in a row. And I must admit that is a very exciting time for us at the Adham Center for Television and Digital Journalism at the American University in Cairo. As we continue to work together with Peter and Walid, as well as Anli, a newcomer, and the rest of the wonderful team over here, they are providing excellent platform for you to come and learn together an experience that I can assure you is going to last with you for many, many years to come. So the Swedish Institute Alexandria was really a key in really putting together this event. And the Adham Center is looking forward, as I mentioned, to see you benefiting from the efficient training sessions that will be provided to expand your endeavors on raising awareness, as well as creating dialogues on climate change. And I would like to present you with an idea of what you're going to see in the next few days. And I hope that we can achieve something that will remain with us. This experience, as I mentioned before, is not going to last for a few days, but this network should expand and be strong enough to have an impact on climate change, not only in this part of the world, but in the entire world. We're going to have 4 sessions. The first session is how the media is covering the climate change. The second session is going to be focuses on hands-on. This is practical experience on the power of social media, and we have some experts that are going to share with you their knowledge on this matter. The third one is a practical experience session on how to increase awareness by creating public service announcements, which is really deeply needed, and I don't see enough of it, whether on television or on the internet. Finally, the fourth session is on the fact-checking approaches and techniques. We hope that the skills you will acquire throughout these sessions will help you paving your way to a brighter future for saving the world climate. Before I close, I would like to thank you all for attending our conference and bringing your expertise to our gathering throughout this conference. I will ask you to stay engaged on social media using our official hashtag at CNM 2017. On social media using this hashtag, we bring us together. We are counting on you to have an impact in the future. You know, this particular note of Peter saying in 2 years we're going to have plastics, more than fish in the sea is really scary. Do you agree? You agree? Oh, it's an incredible thought that it's making me uncomfortable. So we have to do something about it. And we have to influence people to make sure that they are going to save the climate, not only for us, but for generations and generations to come. Thank you again for being with us. Let's share a wonderful and successful event together. Thank you.